So, welcome to Open Studio's fourth edition of Print Speak. My name is Pooty Tong. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm the studio and education manager here at Open Studio. We're excited to have Shogo Okada joining us today for his Print Speak, entitled Being Timeless, a Printing Detour. Before we begin, I would like to do a land acknowledgement. Open Studio acknowledges that it is situated on the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and the Haudenosaunee. And they are the original owners and custodians of the land on which we continue to create and exist. A bit about Open Studio and Print Speak. Open Studio is an artist-run center dedicated to contemporary prints. We offer accessible, inclusive, and affordable printmaking facilities, programs, and services for artists and the public across Canada and abroad. We support artists in creating and exhibiting contemporary prints in an open-minded, safe, and collaborative environment. Our vision is to shape the exploration of prints as essential, dynamic, and relevant to contemporary culture and creative thoughts. Print Speak is a virtual education series that focuses on the incredible artists whose work pushes the boundaries of print media. These talks will take you on a journey with each artist to learn about their passion for creating. So a bit about housekeeping and the format that we're going with today. So a quick reminder about Zoom protocols. Please put yourself on mute for the talk. This is going to be a 30-minute talk with around 15 minutes of a Q&A at the end. And you can put your questions in the chat or use the raise hand emoji, and we'll get to you at the end of the talk. So once again, today we have Shogo with us. A bit about Shogo. Shogo Okada, his pronouns are he and him, is a Montreal-based artist from Osaka, Japan. Okada explores the worlds of visual arts and music, focusing on both counterculture and art history. He draws and interprets existing shapes and structures of familiar motifs and themes, distilling their essence into distinct, often vibrant compositions. Okada predominantly works with the process of screen printing, a method through which he can create and explore the nature of multiples. Over to you, Shogo.
Right. So, by the way, this is our studio in Montreal, and I'm sharing with another artist, and we're kind of like very DIY setup. So this is the exposure unit, and like we just put like something heavy on top, and when we expose the screens, and the light box is handmade and with aluminum, like a lot of bulbs in aluminum, so it's super bright. But it works very well. And okay, so I'm going to talk about the registration first. So this is the paper, and this is the same way we do the registration in wood block. They, instead of like they dig the wood a little bit like this, a little deeper, like for screen printing. I cut paper, and you get like 3 points to do the registration. And this is pretty. You don't have to pay for anything, and you can just cut a little bit of strip of the paper you're using. I don't recommend something too thick because it's the squeegee is going to be stuck. But probably you can just do a dumpster dive to your like recycle bins or whatever, and you cut like maybe like 1 to like 2 centimeter strip, like a little like thicker paper, like maybe 250 or like 300 gram paper, and then I make these square shapes by cutting like this. And so when I have time, like I just do it, and you only need like 3 to like print one artwork. So like we don't really need that much. So let's say like so I set up a paper, and then like I put the like small small tabs, like paper that I've cut like right now, and then like I draw a bit of lines for the first paper that I'm going to be using for the registration. So like I keep using the same paper. Let's say like if I have like 3 colors to register, like I keep using the same paper for the registration. Like it's like a I don't know if that makes sense or not, but you can question me later. And I draw some lines so that you always get you can always put the small papers at this like same spot. So the registration it's not gonna be like really crooked, or like it's gonna be like always stable. And I don't really recommend like to get the like too long big registration paper, because it kind of like in this way I'm showing here, it's more like very like it's touching the paper, as it's very like on point, like so like you just have less like I don't know, it's like a table, and you don't, if you had a like 4 legs, or like if you had a like I don't know how to explain it. If you have more like space attaching, you have more like space that you're not sure. So I think this is better, and this is what my teacher in Japan like told me, that, and this works very well. And the positioning of the registration paper, like I usually like put the longer part, like maybe like 2/3 of paper length, or like 3/4 of the paper length. Like it's relative. Like so, if you had a bigger paper, it's just gonna be like you put somewhere around this. I don't know, the placement. You can place like just like this, and after you finish after you finish putting this paper, and then you just tape it. You tape it with a what's that, like masking paper or something, and so you can peel it off after finish printing, and you can keep using the same tape and the same registration paper. I'll show you when we move to the studio, like how it exactly looks like. And so this is the work I made like last month, but this is all done by Rubilist. So I just cut it the shapes and print it. So the edges are like really sharp, but it's not like you can go like really straight sharp lines, or like it can be like a really loose sometimes. So I think it's graphic, but you can still get the like a little bit of like feel of the human. Like it's not like perfect, and I like that kind of like thing. So this is what I show. I show the film, but so in order to make this image, I started with some drawings. Oh, like by the way, the motif is the cactus, and I drew the negative part. And I did some like drawing like this out of the cactus picture. And I drew like 10 sheets of like these kind of drawings, and I scanned all of them, and I edited in my computer, and I use Photoshop. And yeah, this is so that you can this is kind of similar to when you make music by like chop some like chop chunks and like recompose. So the final image gonna get like really kind of a little choppy and chunky, and you get something that you cannot really achieve with the like just composing by hands and or by analog. So because composing, making things by all by hands is like done by like many years ago. So I'm not like, I like doing those, but I think, you know, we can work with something new as well. It's not like completely like, it's not, I'm not a like tech person, so I'm not like using a lot of I'm not using a like complex software or anything like that, but this is kind of like my generation. So the edges are like, this is the film that I exposed, the file of the film. So the edges are a little bit more, and I blew it up, so it's a little zigzag, and like you feel more like handwritten texture. But like once you print it, it's not gonna be like really zigzag like this. So I think it's fine. And also like depending on the paper texture and stuff like that. And sorry, I have a cheat sheet, by the way, so that I won't forget what to talk. And I use, so the paper I use BFK Reeves usually, and it has a like really like thick and soft cotton feel to it. And it goes really well with the screen printing ink and a screen printing image. And I usually work in abstraction, because abstraction, you have not like abstract expressionism, but like more like abstracted images, because you have more space to think. Because when you look at the work, when you look at like, I don't know, work, you go through your memories or whatever could be your experience, or like, or something that you have seen like 5 minutes ago or something, and then you kind of overlay what you're looking at right now, and also your memory. So that's, in that way, like you can just, it's not like really concrete, but like you can, you know, you have more space, and you're a little bit more, you're more free to like think of. And I like that kind of airy, you know, like it's not like, oh, you gotta look at the, I like the feeling that like, if you're seeing the like figurative painting, so you're kind of like, you have less space to like think around, move around. But with abstraction, like you can just like, you know, you can think like freely, and I think that's interesting. And I don't know, like maybe, so this is this work is like each, I think each shape doesn't make sense itself, but it's sort of like it makes sense altogether, because this is, by the way, the aquarium, or like a little, that dream about aquarium. So the green part is plant, like seaweed or kelp or something like that, and five dots here are like 4 dots are the oxygen, and so the black shape itself doesn't make sense, but like with the blue fin here, with it kind of like, it reminds me of a bit of like fish shape. And the big the empty space above these shapes are that kind of like, I left it because it just reminds me of like, you're kind of like, you feel a little bit of pressure of the water, or like, I don't know, something like that. But it doesn't need to be like, you don't have to think in that way. You can just like, you know, think as you like. And so, oh, like after editing all the images, I do a little bit of touch up by hand before I shoot the images to the screens, and that gives a like really like human feel to the work. Because if you started the images, I'm not I'm not talking about which is good or bad, but if you start the image in your computer and output with the printer and then shoot it straight to the screen, that kind of, to me, like it's very machinery and it's very mechanical, and it's just too perfect. And like for myself, like for my work, like I prefer to have like a little bit of like a little like out of control feel, but not too much. And all those like small differences makes a big differences. The big difference, like in my opinion, it's like accumulation, like stack of like small, nuances that gives the big. I mean, a lot of people have. Maybe a lot of people are better than you, or like better than me. So like I'm not really talking about who's better at like painting or techniques, because when it comes to like techniques, for example, like classical paintings compared to like Michelangelo or someone like that, like we all suck. So I don't know. I'm not a technical. I can be technical, but like it's not about like comparing yourself to someone else. It's just like I like that sort of that aesthetic. And oh yeah, so like I like to talk about like how to be efficient in time and cost, and also like I don't work too hard, so like just to relax. You can to how to work a little bit more lazy and achieve less stress. So I usually like prepare everything first. So I do color tests with the similar. I use the similar screen. So like if you print with a 200 mesh count, it's recommended to use the same screen, like same mesh count, and I calculate how much ink I put, and I take data so that you can just recreate the color if in case you need it. And also like I think it might be like easier to like show you later on like how I set up. And some people I think don't like prepare enough, and if you made a mistakes, you're gonna like work twice the same. The time you're gonna spend is gonna be just like twice, because you have to watch the screen again, and you have to set up the same. You have to do the same thing twice, and that's like a waste of time. Instead of doing that, like it's better to like prepare everything like a mise en place, like in the kitchen, like all the things you're gonna use is gonna be there, and everything's set up like properly before you start printing, so that like you won't waste time and you're not gonna forget anything. It's more like working. You don't have to use your brain while you're printing, because printing is already physical, and it's more like muscle memory. And every time you print, if you prepare the images, and if you prepare inks and the squeegees and the screens table, like everything should be, in my opinion, it should be like prepared well, and you're not gonna make a mess, and you can work in less time. Yeah, and it seems like you may feel like you're spending more time, but it actually like if you see if you see from the back, like you spend when you finish, like you actually like spending less time. You're printing in very efficiently in that way. And I use a lot of, sometimes I don't like keeping everything, but sometimes if you crop the paper, I keep the paper, like edges of the paper like this, or like a little something thicker, like to do a color test or something. So we don't we don't have to waste that much of paper, because screen printing is not really not like environmental friendly that much. So like we have to, I don't know, it's better to like use the material as much as possible. And also like you don't have to buy something, you don't have to buy extra paper to do the color test or anything like that in that. Like, so I think that's better. So I think we should move on to this the studio, and I can show you how I set up and how I print. Okay. I'm just okay. I would like to talk about a bit of like a screen printing tip of like who print on screen printing. And so I would like to start with I basically work in both in like kind of old-fashioned like traditional screen printing method, like such as rubylith and like halftone sometimes. And also like I've been working as a screen printing technician at some like screen printing print shops. So like which they basically like use more like up-to-date materials and the equipment. So they use more like they use a lot of computers, and like they sometimes like they have like an instant screen printing screen maker, like it just like big like printer, but like you can print out the screen like so yeah. I don't know how many of you guys like know about rubylith, but rubylith might be like a good good material like when it comes to like making images with. I'm gonna show you. But these are just regular films, and I use these too. Rubylith is like the film like this, and you can cut, and so the red part is going to be printed. I just cut a little bit of, I cut with the X-Acto, and you can just peel it off. Like this. It's not really good. Like this, and then yep. This is pretty good. Like when it comes to like you make like solid flat space or like more like graphic design, because it used to be like used by graphic designers and a photographer before back in the day. So you can just also like, this is not like, you can combine this with the film. This one, like this is printed with a laser printer, but this one has a lot of spots. So like I tried to fill the holes with the Sharpies, but there were like too many holes, so you can see the lines. So like I stopped like doing it, and then like I cut the rubylith and I shoot. I layer this like this, and then like so like the red part is completely blocked. Like you don't really have to worry about exposed, like whether it's gonna be like exposed properly or not. So so you can use rubylith like this as well. So this is one of the like kind of like old method, and also like so like I like to talk about a little bit of about registration, because I'm not really using the pin registration, like tab registration thing, but I share the screen. Oh. Okay. you hear me?
I think so. Sounds like it's working.
Okay. So this is like how I set up. I'm just gonna print the one color, but so the squeeze sometimes has it's damaged. So like I use a like cleaner, the better side of squeegee. So I just mark which side to use, and the screen is set up, and so I'm using the vacuum table. So to get as much as vacuum pressure, so I cover the whole like empty space. So it sucks well, and so like this is like how I do the registration. So here's the paper, like paper chip, and then like I taped it with a masking paper. So like I put like around like here to here is like 3/4, like 2/3 or whatever, but not too close, not too far. And I set the paper. No, I prepare paper like how many? I don't know how many I print, but I don't know. So if my working space is like a little more like scattered or pale, like maybe like I may use a different ink. Like you change the screen, and then let's say like this is a new screen, and you register first the paper first with the image, and then like you know like I usually like use play glue, so like the image won't move around, but if you're using the vacuum table, just put the vacuum on, the paper is going to be on at the same place. I just reuse the same. I just reuse the same registration thing, and then let's say that this is the vacuum zone, and so the paper won't like move around, and I got like I have already. I mean, let's say this is the first paper that I use for the registration, and the mark is here, so I just put the registration tab at the same spot, like this. Let's say, like this. You do this every time, but you only have to do this like, you know, with the first paper. The last paper is going to be registered automatically. So I think, yeah, it doesn't take that much time anyway. So.
And would you say you generally like just register by hand because they're like acetate systems where people print a layer and then line that up?
You can use that, but like if you use it, I mean, it depends on like how you print, but in this way, like you don't really need to like use the acetate every time. And you see, after you printed the first registration paper, like you see if there is a gap or not. And but this is more about like if you print in this way like a few times, so you see like how much screen moves, and because I prefer to print in this way because the screen move less. And if you need a really tight registration, you put something like a little bit of smaller like wood block like this, and then put it here like this. So the screen I print in this way, so like screen is gonna be like moved this way, but like this, and you double tape it, and you want the screen just don't move around, like yeah. And it's just if you need like really like good registration, tight registration.
That's a great tip. Thank you, Shogo. I'm going to pull up the chat and see if there are any other things in the chat in terms of questions. So Carol Cooper asks, hi, Shogo. I love the images you have in the ferry terminal at the Lake Effect project. Did you make the prints? How and what size were they originally? Thanks.
Oh, that was about like 20, I think 28 by 30 something. I don't really remember, but like I think it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe like 25 by 30 something.
Yeah. So you made the prints before they became
Before,
billboards?
And we just edited and then like stretched it out.
Right.
Yeah. So the image is not the same.
There's a comment and question. Hi, Shogo from Andrea. I really appreciate your organized and prepared approach to screen printing. Can you tell us your technique for measuring your ink proportions when mixing colors? Thanks for any tips.
I sometimes I use photo. If you decide the color in your Photoshop, you can see the color chart in your Photoshop, and like how you can see like how much cyan, how much yellow, how much magenta you need, or like whatever the color you want. Or eyeball it. You can eyeball it, but like I just like try to write down what I use, and I use a scale like for the pigment ink like this, like acrylic ink. You don't need to be like really precise like reactive ink or anything like that. So I would say like the scale has like 0.0 or like maybe like 0 point something is just enough. Like you don't need to be like 0.00 or something like that. Like I don't. Yeah, it won't make that much difference with these acrylic inks. And when it, so about the quantity, I print maybe like one sheet, or you measure the first, the quantity of the ink first before you print, and then I put everything back, and then I remeasure the quantity again. So like you subtract you do the calculation, you do the math, and then let's say like you use like 5 gram of 5 gram of ink, like times whatever you want, like let's say like 50 sheet and 50 times 5, 20, 250 gram. You will need total, but like I will add up like maybe like 20% more, or like just in case. Yeah. Oh, and it's important like just to keep in mind like how many pass you print. Like let's say like I just printed like once like this, but if you flood the screen again and print it again, like it takes it takes more ink. So I just write down those as well, so that you can eventually, like, if you work on like maybe a few projects, you can get like how like you can get the space, like how big is the image and how much ink you want to use. Well, also like it depends on like I print with a lot of like flat solid chunk of color, so like I need more ink. So like but don't worry. Don't prepare the ink less. Like it's gonna be like really sketchy. Yeah, and it's very stressful. You're not sure if you're pulling like 100 sheets of like edition and anything like that. Like it's really like, it's gonna be a problem.
And I guess this is all part of the overall preparation as well, too, right?
Yeah. So just, and keep the data, and probably I'm not really sure, but like there must be a lot of like programs online, a free program that can calculate the like, I don't know, to calculate those kind of things.
Yeah. So Andrea, thank you, and says this is brilliant. Thanks, Shogo. So another question from Brian. Hi, Shogo. Thank you for sharing. How did you make your exposure unit? Could you just describe it a bit more?
There's just like I didn't make it, but like that's my studio mate got it from his friend. and she just put the like light bulbs, I think just regular light bulbs like this, and it has maybe like 10 or like dozen of those are like lined up, and it's all covered. It's in that like wood box, and it's all covered with like aluminum foil. You know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, aluminum foil. So like the lights reflect like, and it's so bright, and at top, and the box is topped with I think that's it's not the regular glass because it's not breaking. We're putting very heavy stuff, but I think that's like what is that, like the one that's at the hockey rink, anything like that. It's like hard.
Oh, okay.
Like glass, like
yeah,
the strong glass. Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah, and then we just calculate the exposure time just by time. So you might have to like do some what's that? You may have to do some tests, and so like after I moved to the new place, probably like I did like 5-6 tests to figure out like how much time I have to expose. So yeah.
Yeah, how long are average exposures?
Oh, it's gonna. I think it's gonna be like really depends on like what you have, but mine is like 3:30 to like 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
Depends on like material you're using. So if you're using a mylar or like a thin paper, I exposure less. So like 3:30 is like really like the minimum. And if I'm using the Rubylith, you can just shoot. You can expose like longer, and that red film really cut the light. So I usually like goes like 5 or 6. And if you I re-expose the screen if I have to like pull a lot of additions, like maybe like 50, like more like 50, over 50 sheets. I think I recommend you to like re-expose the screen. So the emulsion is going to be hardened. Just like I think the 3:30 or like when you expose less, the emulsion just is soft and it may start it like getting off from the screen.
Sounds great. Those are pretty good times for like a DIY unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, still under 10 minutes is amazing for stuff like that. So Derek asked, I think you said what paper you use, but his connection isn't great, so they missed it. Your paper. Oh, your paper.
Yeah.
The paper. What paper do you use?
Oh, the BFK Reeves.
Yeah.
That's like
all the time. Have you changed?
All the time. I've been printing with the Townsend edition or other papers, but I think just BFK goes with my image and I like the texture and the final texture. I like that, like cotton, very cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it too. Let's see. We are about like 10 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody in the chat have any more questions? This is the last time to get Shogo right here. Okay, I think this might be it. Thank you for your time, Shogo, and thank you for joining this print speak session, everybody. If y'all missed the previous talks, they're available on our YouTube channel. And yeah, our next print speak will be a bit more virtual, hands-on, and held on March 24th with Jasmine, Nicole, and Mako. In this print speak session, Self-Portraits of Self-Care, Jasmine Nicole will provide a digital art workshop inspired by a collection of prints and paintings as part of her virtual residency here at Open Studio that she completed in February 2022. As always, all print speak sessions are free, but donations are welcome. And I'll see y'all soon and stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.